Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the digital asset investor, and gold crashed yesterday. This is all normal stuff. If you're like me, you kind of accumulate on the downs, not the ups. I haven't bought gold in a while, but I accumulated gold for the last few years, just like I've accumulated XRP for the last few years. And when I see the markets go down is when I'm, typically buying. Right now I'm focused on XRP. I'll probably be scooping up gold for the rest of my life. So I don't really pay much attention to this kind of stuff other than the fact that there are certain assets that I'll just kind of continue to accumulate. One's XRP, at least for now. Gold's another one. Many people like the Bitcoin versus gold thing, and some, in my opinion, even if you're a Bitcoin maxi, you should be accumulating both if that's what your thing is. Bitcoin's not going to replace gold. I've said it 1,000 times. Here, iTrustCapital said gold versus Bitcoin. You can only hold one for the rest of 2025. What are you choosing? I would probably choose Bitcoin in this particular case because of the digital asset space, all the money that's coming to this, because it's a newer space. Guess what? Through my partner, iTrustCapital, you can buy both. So if your thing is Bitcoin and gold, which in my opinion is the smart way to approach it, in your IRA or in your premium custody account, you can accumulate both. And you're buying physical gold that's kept in I believe it's the Royal Canadian Mint. So they've had this set up for a while, but you can do it both through your IRA and your premium custody account. And if you open an account, you can get a $100 funding bonus. Go to iTrustCapital.com/XRP Army, and it'll take you to this page where you can get the promo code. We've got a 238 XRP. If it goes down, into the 220 something range, I'm sitting here ready. I will back up the truck again. Jim Cramer has said that crypto's due for a push today, and we all know what that means. So I put Brad Garlinghouse's shocked face on here. Inverse Jim Cramer. And this is from Smoke. The CoinDesk 20 index, here, let me pull this whole thing up. CoinDesk 20 index tracks 20 of the most liquid and tradable digital assets, representing roughly 80% of the total trading volume. XRP currently represents 17.7% of the fund, making it the largest representation of altcoins. And it says ProShares has officially filed for a ProShares CoinDesk Crypto 20 ETF to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. And I said, this is how this is going to go down, folks. I've said it 1,000 times. Wall Street is going to come into these core blue chip crypto, and they're going to use models like this. So 80% of all this institutional and new money that's coming in, and the financial advisors, it's the safe play for the financial advisors is going to be to tell their clients, look, we want you to, if you're going to invest in crypto, we want you to be in the blue chip crypto. This is how they roll, folks, where most of the liquidity is, where you're less susceptible to the crazy downturns. And that's how this is going to go. And so you got under $4 trillion in this market. You got hundreds of trillions that are coming. And 80% of it is going to flow into things like these indexes. Or at least percentage-wise to there. You won't be hearing this from Squawk Box, Anthony Pompliano, Michael Saylor, Tom Lee, or Kathy Wood. XRP remains the best performing asset among CoinDesk 20 constituents. It's right there. They're not going to tell you about that, folks. Look, now, there's no question in my mind. I believe that there's going to be an XRP land rush. Here, Eric Balkanis, he's talking, he says there's Now, 155 crypto ETP filings tracking 35 different digital assets could easily end up seeing over 200 hit market in the next 12 months. Total land rush. Here's the list by coin. Amazing work. Now, if you're me, or if you think like me, none of these are interesting unless they have a limited amount. And that is what is going to cause a land rush. You know the old saying, buy land, they're not making any more of it. The same goes true for XRP. The difference is, A, they're not making more of it, and B, they're burning it on, and the burn is going to increase as the transaction volume goes up, as all this adoption that we're starting to see happens. It's better than land. There will be, when the average Joe out there finally realizes this, and I believe that less than 1% probably less than 1% of 1% of the population knows what you and I know, having followed this for all these years. When that happens, it will be a land rush. It's just the way it is. Now here is Matt Hogan talking about the impact of crypto ETFs and what's happening and what's going to happen.
We can look at our ETFs and we know from SEC filings what percentage of them are held by institutional investors and therefore what percentage are held by retail investors. When they first launched in the first quarter, it was about 10% institutional, 90% retail. So even for ETPs, it was mostly retail. But that 10% is now about 28%. And it's on its way to being 50%. So they are coming for sure. That's clear in the data. But most of them still aren't here. It's still early. That will take a few more years. But I think we'll look at that number in a few years. It'll be 60 or 70% institutional.
These ETFs events, was it a one-time event or will it just continue to grow? How big can it be?
Yeah, I think it's going to grow substantially. I actually don't think it was a one-time event at all. And there are two reasons for that. One, what's the first time you bought Bitcoin? Have you bought Bitcoin since? I think very few of us bought Bitcoin for the first time and never touched it again. For that reason, the people who already bought Bitcoin ETFs, guess what? I think they're going to buy more. But the bigger thing is if you look at the history of ETFs, and I come from an ETF background, it's always the case that year 2 is bigger than year 1, and year 3 is bigger than year 2, and year 4 is bigger than year 3. The gold ETFs, maybe the closest analog to the Bitcoin ETFs, they had a great first year, 3 billion in flows. Year 2 was 5 billion. It peaked at about 18 billion in year 8. Every sign I look at suggests that Bitcoin ETFs and other ETFs are following that same spectrum. So I know we did great last year. We had 36 billion in inflows in the US. I think we'll be at 40 this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we're at 50 or 60 next year. I actually think we're just getting started and it's going to get much bigger from here.
And one question about the market, because
And XRP, if Bitcoin's just getting started, XRP is just getting started before just getting started. And look at this. These are the 11, and this is going to be a part of the land rush. The ETFs, you got this. I mean, the list of things going on right now is crazy. Now there are 11 XRP treasury companies. Look at that. Evernorth $1 billion, Trident $500 million, Weebus $300 million, Vivo Power $121 million. You can see the numbers. It's very obvious what's coming. Listen to this about Eric Trump on the banks.
They hurt us so badly. They tried to take us out. They tried to destroy our company based on, weaponization toward my father because he was a politician and he was running for commander-in-chief of the United States. And they wanted to see him gone. And they wanted to see us broken. They wanted to see us bankrupt. And now, in turn, we won that battle. The battle I'd like to win against the big banks is I'd like to see them gone in such a big way. I would like to see them totally irrelevant. There's no reason these big banks need 10,000 people in a skyscraper with, lavish executive offices. Guess who's paying all those expenses? You and me.
Wow. Look at this, folks. We knew it was going to happen. Listen up from Smoke.
I also think it's encouraging, Nick, that we're seeing it broaden out beyond Bitcoin and we're starting to understand the fundamentals and other applications when you think about the institutional use cases for the digital asset space.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that the early kind of mover in this was Bitcoin particularly. But the way that I really like to see this is we're building a new financial wallet system. So if you picture
it was the government engineered early mover.
Tomorrow's wallet. we've got Bitcoin. So they're the digital gold. They sit inside and act as this finite supply, borderless transactions, and really self-custodied with a password, not a vault. Whether you're hedging inflation or sort of dodging local currency turmoil, very censorship-resistant store of value. And then you've got Ethereum. So that's the app platform. So Ethereum's the wallet's app store. Smart contracts so that you trade, borrow, or earn yield without a bank. And owning ETH is really just like holding gas in a global financial operating system, one that's open source and runs 24/7. Then you've got XRP. So they're the cross-border bridge. And XRP works really behind the scenes as that instant FX bridge. So banks convert dollars to XRP, beam it abroad in 3 seconds, and cash it out in local currency, potentially cutting remittance fees from 7% to under 1%. And then you've got Solana, the high-speed rail. So Solana provides the commuter rail, really hundreds of transactions per second with very tiny fees. So your subway tap, in-game purchase, or loyalty point redemption could all ride on the Solana rails without you even noticing. Then we've got stablecoins. Stablecoins such as USDC act as tokenized dollars, really clearing anytime, anywhere, and fully backed by short-term treasuries. And they really marry crypto speed with the safety of US debt, turning your phone into sort of this real-time dollar account that you can spend worldwide. So this is really a suite of products that have very specific functions that are reimagining the entire financial stack, and it's really opening back up.
That was a great explanation. Okay, we got a lot more to cover in the group. Go to daixrp.com. That's the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click join below any of these videos. If you'd rather join through X, hit subscribe. Got a lot more. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here we go.